It's me again with another unboxing. It's a busy week. And this one is from Bill Molyneaux, who was kind enough to send this to me. It's on the French and Indian War, Board Game Volume 1, featuring 12 battles of the French and Indian War. As I said, Bill sent this to me. He only sent a limited number of these out because he's basically a small-time publisher. He's a longtime designer and has designed other titles and titles for other companies, but he's now kind of breaking out on his own. This came along with it, and it kind of shows some of his designs that are available. So the French and Indian War Volume 1, French and Indian War Volume 2, a little bit about the games there, and he also has the Battle for Brandywine and both the basic and the deluxe edition. And you can find these at adventuregamesource.com, Bill Molyneaux Games, which is kind of this BMG Bill Molyneaux Games here. But I think they're being sourced, or you can buy them online at adventuregamesource.com. So you take a look at there if any of this stuff interests you. As I said, Bill was kind enough to send this to me. I did an unboxing of another one of his titles, The Struggle for New France, and this one was actually produced by Blue Panther. And this is a strategic level look at the French and Indian War from 1755 to 1762. I'll put that in the description if you want to see the unboxing of this. But this one is as a tactical level, a very tactical level. There's not a lot of counters usually involved, and the maps are relatively small, so you can get right into the action. And this one is loosely based on, or maybe largely based on, Bloody Mohawk, the French and Indian War, which was published by Lock and Load Publishing. I was just kind of looking at the battles that are listed on this, and they mostly match up with, I think, the battles that are in here. So I think the Volume 1 is going to be based on Bloody Mohawk. Volume 2, spoiler alert, or teaser, I'll be doing an unboxing on that. I think that one corresponds with his Savage Wilderness, which was another title he did for Lock and Load. Now, these are bigger boxes, so I'm expecting bigger components. I think he did upgrade the counter size and maybe the maps as well on that. But one of the things that I really like about this system, or at least these two games, is the kind of gateway games. And I did a video not too long ago about gateway games, which kind of featured Bloody Mohawk and Savage Wilderness, because I think they're great gateway games in the hobby. They have, it's hex and counter. It's not a lot of counters. It's small maps. They don't take a lot of time to play. The rules are relatively simple, but yet, you're still playing a war game. You're still, making tactical decisions and having combat, be determined by some dice rolls and the like. And so I really like that they are a good introduction into the wargaming hobby, and therefore, I think great gateway games. And so this is a reboot of Bloody Mohawk in that sense, but be interesting to see what he did with this. So that's why I want to get into the box. So it looks like it comes with a slip cover here on it, and on the back you get game statistics, complexity low. I agree with that. Solitaire average, players 2, ages 10, time 10 to 60 minutes. Some of the smaller scenarios are might be 10 minutes. With learning the rules, it's at least maybe 20, 25. But the smaller scenarios are very accessible, very easy to get into. And the longer ones, I don't know if I've ever played a game of this that took an hour. I guess with some of the larger scenarios with some thinking to put to it, or analysis paralysis, it might take a little bit of time there. So on the back here, you've got a little bit of stuff in purple, a little bit hard to read there. Refight 12 of the key battles of the French and Indian War that evicted the French from the North American continent, and led to the founding of Canada, as well as teaching colonial leaders such as George Washington valuable lessons for the War of Independence. One of these battles is, there it is, Fort Necessity. George Washington learned a little bit there on his way to becoming the head of the Revolutionary Army. French troops began Fort Carillon in 1755, becoming strategic center of gravity for North American Seven Years' War, and in 1758, the site of the bloodiest battle fought on the continent until the Civil War. The British captured and renamed post Ticonderoga, and it again achieved strategic significance during the American Revolution, captured and recaptured by American and British forces, preserved in 1820. The Fort Ticonderoga Museum has been open to the public since 1909. Now, one of the things that Bill wanted me to mention is that these games are endorsed by Dr. David Preston of the Citadel and Fort Ticonderoga War College and Fort Ligonier War College. I'm horrible at pronouncing stuff, so apologize, Bill. Apologize, Dr. David Preston. But it's Ligoner. Ligonier War College. But anyway, so I assume that Dr. Preston's affiliated with all three of those institutions, but he has endorsed these games. I assume he's a historian of acclaim on the French and Indian War. And Bill himself is he's a longtime reenactor on the French and Indian War, and there's not a lot of those, right? I mean, we do know of several, at least I know of several Civil War reenactors, but you don't see French and Indian War actors as much, or maybe at least not in my neck of the woods, because I live in the middle of the country. Not much action out this way. Anyway, so with all that, let's get into the box here and see what Bill has done with Bloody Mohawk and how he's moved it into French and Indian War board game volume 1 here. So it's got a slip cover, as I said. Whoop. Got a little slip cover there. Got some art there. Then I'll move this right here. And then we just got a white box. And it's just a regular box. I mean, it's not super, almost like a paper box, but kind of thin in some respects. The lid is thicker than the bottom here. You get a 10-sided die there. You get, the counters are in a Ziploc bag, and the counters are bigger. I can tell you that right there. We'll get those out in a second here. We get the Volume 1 rules. There you got the BMG, or Bill Molyneaux Games. And this looks like the same back that was on the other one. So I wonder if the rules are going to look somewhat similar. I assume that he, I believe Bill got all his, art and galleys and everything, all the stuff that because this looks the same as what he did for Lock and Load. So I imagine he worked with David Heath of Lock and Load. And I know David Heath, and he's a straight-up guy, so imagine that it was amicable of Bill moving on and taking these games to kind of a more focused audience. I mean, this probably doesn't fit naturally into some of the Lock and Load stuff, although just today I saw Lock and Load has went live with a game found for a Napoleonic game, so they are playing a little bit in this space. So as you can see here, the rules are dual column, large font, not very complicated here. This talks about the components. Here's, you're talking a little bit about what the combat factors are on the counters, your terrain, relatively straightforward. I think the maps are done very nicely. I imagine they kept the same art of the original maps. Sequence of play, again, not that complex. Your fire combat, Indian special combat, artillery combat, retreat, and advance after combat. That's your combat. So not even 2 full pages there. And then that's it. So you've got 7 pages of rules is the game, right? 7 pages, not even 7 because you got a table of contents in there. So 6 pages of rules, and then you're right into the scenarios. And as you can see, the scenarios are relatively small and contained. tells, you know, who the first, second player are, what reinforcements, if there are any, special rules, if any, winning that scenario, and a little bit of context of the scenario. Here's the fort necessity. The young George Washington has built a small stockade fort in a grassy meadow. His scouts have informed him that a large force of Indians and French are on their way to take revenge for the death of Jumonville. So here you go. There's fort necessity. Here's your setup. So another thing that I like about this is the, as I said, the scenarios are relatively small and contained, not a lot of counters that don't take long to play, nice art, and you know that makes, in my opinion, for a good gateway game because you can kind of get into the action and get right at the plane. Here's one of the larger ones. This is Plains of Abraham. It's an important battle there, and then you've got your credits there. So I like the accessibility of these, that you can get right into them and get right to playing. So that's your rules. Again, full color, nicely done. Then we've got some player aids here. This is your turn track, your terrain, movement costs, combat retreat. As I said, very clearly laid out, very easy to get to. A single-sided because you'll leave that on the board. And then you're right into the maps. And there are quite a few in here. Ooh, my goodness. So we'll put that off here. And look at that. Quite a lot of maps in here. And these are all for the different scenarios. So as you can see, that the art, I like the art. It's very simple. The hexes are very clearly delineated. You've got some of these numbers here, like for setup and stuff, or exit, you know, for part of the victory conditions of the scenario. And they're one-sided here. I think the other ones might have been, I can't remember if they were dual-sided before. But here they're all one-sided, and you know, decent card stock here. So, and you know, with the counters, which we'll get into, the counters are big, but so are the hexes. So you get quite a few maps in here. There's the good old fort necessity. And then you get some double-sided maps in here, or not double-sided, but a little bit longer maps there. It's the Battle of Bushy Run. Like this. Ooh, here is the one that was talked on the back of the box here. You got a whole fort there. Kind of cool. Look at that one. Got a lot going on there. Got a little bit different terrain. I think I remember playing this one before. I played a lot of these. As again, they don't take very long to play. And you can play them, you know, solitaire. There's not solitaire rules. It's the old-fashioned double-handed type play, but there's not that many counters, so it's not like you're you know, you're making a lot of tough decisions. I mean, you can kind of move kind of fast and play it kind of like speed chess, and you know, make your decisions that way. I like this map. This is this snowshoes. As you can see, that's kind of cool. There's Rogers Rock. Decision Games has a Rogers Raiders. I think that kind of might deal with this too. That's more of a little bit more of an operational game. It's one of the Decision Games mini games. Battle of St. Foy. So cool stuff here. So there, as I said, there's quite a lot in this box. I mean, this to me is you don't find a lot of true tactical games in the in this period, in the Revolutionary War or French and Indian War or even the Napoleonic War. A lot of stuff is I mean, tactical meaning not at this kind of level. These are, you know, not a lot of counters on the board, and they're really kind of getting into the inset action on there, and you're not, you know, a lot of the other games are a little bit bulkier in their rules and how you do movement, and maybe even get into a little bit more of supply sometimes. But I mean, this is a truly, focusing on just the movement and combat, of not a lot of forces. So counters pop out real easy. I mean, it's got some nibs on the side if you don't like that, but they're relatively big and they're kind of pre-rounded. You really don't need to, can't even put that back in. You don't really need to clip these, at least I wouldn't. And they're double-sided there. And you can see it a little bit more faded on the back there, but that's a reduced. You got some special here, but there's the counters, and they're good size there. I mean, that's my thumb. Pretty good size there. And then we have more counters. There's that blank. So you got the British in red. You go, look at that. I can tell you, they come out easy. They do come out very easy there. You're going to not have much time punching these out. There's your turn counter. There's a leader counter there. And they don't have named leaders because you're going to use different leaders in different scenarios. As I said, this to me was kind of reminiscent of kind of a squad leader tactical type game with all the different maps and stuff, but for very specific battles. They're not geomorphic. They're just set for the battles. But you have a small counter set, and it's, as I said, I can't stress how easy it is to get right into these games. They're not that complex, but yet still give you a feel and a taste of the period and the era and the tactics that went on. And you got some Indian units here as well. And there you have it. So that is what you get in a box of French and Indian War board game volume 1. Your rules, which this does look the same as Bloody Mohawk. You get several maps, and the maps look a little bit bigger. The rules, I think, are bigger. Maps are bigger. The counters are a little bit bigger as well. Everything's bigger. So this is what Bill has brought to us in taking this on his own. Again, this is, I think this is, I don't know if it's only available, but I know it is available at adventuregamesource.com. Designed by Bill Molyneaux, and of course, approved by or endorsed by Dr. David Preston. Bill would not be happy if I didn't mention that. Anyway, so that's what I have for you today. Check this out. Love to know your thoughts on this. Did you play Bloody Mohawk or Savage Wilderness in the past? If you didn't, or don't have a copy of that, or you're interested in this, love to know your thoughts and comments on that. And thanks for stopping by, and love to know you stopped by. Drop a comment. That's a good way that I know you stopped by. And I don't care what you say. If you got something nice to say about this, great. If you got something critical, make sure it's kind of nice, and because Bill might read it, and he might pick up on it and do something with this stuff. But again, there's a second volume. I'll do an unboxing on that. That, again, I think tracks Savage Wilderness, and I think he's also porting this system over into, I think, into the Zulu Wars. I think he's got that in the works. So I think I've seen something on that. So excited to see this taken to different avenues, because again, I do like the simplicity and accessibility of this system. If you want something meatier, and then this might not be your bag. But again, there's not a lot in this space. There's not a lot at this level of tactical level on the French and Indian War. So they kind of got you there. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for stopping by, and have a good one. Thanks for watching.